నమస్కారం. ప్రముఖుల ఆధ్యాత్మిక అంతరంగాల్ని ఆవిష్కరించే ఇష్టదైవం కార్యక్రమానికి స్వాగతం. ఈనాటి ఇష్టదైవం కార్యక్రమంలో మనతో ఉన్న ప్రముఖులు సద్గురు. మరి సద్గురుని అడిగి భక్తి అంటే ఏమిటి, ఆధ్యాత్మికత అంటే ఏమిటి, వారి ఇష్టదైవం ఎవరో తెలుసుకుందాం. నమస్కారం అండి. మీ దృష్టిలో దైవం అంటే ఏమిటి, అంటే దేవుణ్ణి ఏ విధంగా నిర్వచిస్తారు?
What is according to me, what is according to you is of no consequence. Because you can think what you want, I can think what I want. That's not the point. Let's look at the reality of what we know. The reason why the idea of God has entered the human mind is because it's a fact that all of us crawled out of our mother's wombs and we came. When we came, the world was already there. So much creation, how many varieties. Today you might have learned to ignore. When you were a little baby, you observed an ant with as much interest as anything in the universe,
yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
So when you paid attention, there was too much creation and too complex. So the first inquiry is, you looked at your mother. Did you do this? Well, she delivered us.
She is the creator, we feel like that.
No.
We feel like that.
Let me… She delivered you, but she did not deliver the planet.
Yes.
Then you looked at your father, did you? Well, he doesn't look like that. You looked at every other adult. Nobody looked like competent enough to create all this. Then a child is asking, maybe still not found words, but his eyes are asking questions. You look at an infant,
yes.
Everything is a question mark in his mind.
Exactly.
So when he asked these questions, adults around gave a simplistic, childish answer.
God.
There is a big man up there who is making all this happen. Because we are human, we are thinking there is a big man up there. Now, in India, we don't have such problems. We have a man god, we have a woman god.
Yes.
We have a cow god, we have an elephant god, we have a bird god, we have crawling ones, creeping ones, flying ones, every kind.
Yes.
Because this is a very wise culture, we foresaw all the future problems that may arise.
Yes.
So we created every kind of god so that tomorrow nobody stands up and argues. Somebody says God is this, somebody says God is that, somebody says God is nothing, somebody says God is everything. You can say what you want. Fundamentally, this has come because you have no explanation for creation. Such a complex happening, you have no explanation for it, so you found your own kind of psychological solution for it. About God being up there, first of all, you do not even know which is up and which is down. You're sitting on a round planet, it is spinning.
Yes.
If you look up, invariably you're looking up in the wrong direction.
Yes.
So you don't even know which is up. So how do you know whether God is this or that? In India, we know God is Brahm, because God himself landed here 9 times. Yes.
Yes.
9 times he came.
Yeah.
Indians are very proud about this. Wherever I go, particularly Indians who are living outside the country, they're very proud. God came to our country 9 times himself. So I keep reminding them, that is because God would not trust anybody with Indians. He wanted to do the work hands-on with Indians.
Oh.
If he sent his messenger or son, he would have failed. So he himself came.
He himself came, okay.
9 times, not once. 9 times he came and he failed.
Okay.
9 or 10 times we can debate, failure cannot be debated, it's very much there. So our ideas of God may be culturally relevant, has no existential relevance.
Okay.
The fact of the matter is, you do not know how creation happened. So you are trying to find simplistic solutions for that. In this country, you must understand, this is a godless nation. Never in this country did you have a clear picture of this is God, never. All the people whom you worship, whether it is Shiva, Rama, Krishna, whatever, all of them walked this geography at some time as human beings. But we raised them to a position of being worshipful because they excelled in such a way that they looked well above other human beings.
Their qualities.
Today in this country, people say Tendulkar is cricketing god.
Okay.
It's very much in tune with our culture, because anything that excels beyond a point, which breaks barriers and excels beyond a point, we consider that a divine expression. So if you can sing beyond all singers, we will say she is a singing goddess. Nothing wrong with this, because you're crossing what we considered as human limitations, you crossed. So we say you are a divine expression. So we only had devas and devis. This meant those beings who excelled beyond limitations. We never had a god, never was and never will be, because we don't see life like that. We do not respect one authority up there, we don't like that. For us, truth is the only authority. Authority is never the truth. This is the nature of this culture. This is something unfortunately the nation has forgotten. In this culture, we held truth as the highest goal, not the authority. God means an authority.
Yes.
We never held God as the greatest thing. We held truth and freedom as the highest thing. Mukti is the goal, God is not the goal. God is just one more stepping stone. And we learned the technologies of making gods. So we made 33 million gods
Yes.
and goddesses. This is not just dolls that we made. There is a science behind it. To address different aspects of life, we created different types of deities. Even today, deities are referred to as yantras. Yantra literally translates as a machine. So as there are machines of various kinds, right now we have a variety of machines. We created a bicycle. Why? We could walk, but walking was not good enough. We wanted to go faster. We made a bicycle. Bicycle was not good enough, a motorcycle. Like this we went on stretching it. Now we can speak, so there is a microphone, there is a telephone. Now we can see, so there is a microscope, there is a telescope. Every machine that we have created is only an extension of our existing faculties.
Exactly.
We can see till there, with a telescope we are able to see there. I can see you, but I cannot see the minute bacteria, so I came up with a microscope to see those things that I cannot see. But all these only because I can see. If I could not see, I would not be making telescopes or microscopes. Or in other words, every machine is just an extension of our existing faculties. Similarly, we saw the inner capabilities of the human being and we created machines, subjective machines for that. These are the deities. That's why the deities or the murtis are referred to as yantra, because if you know how to operate them, they will work. Right now there's a camera. You need to know how to operate it, otherwise it'll not work for you. You have a phone, you should know how to operate it, otherwise it'll not work for you. Similarly, the deities, you must know how to operate it, only then they will work for you. For every deity there was a form, there was a mantra, there was variety of steps as to how to make use of this. There are innumerable examples, but today we have this mental slavery in our mind that unless it's approved and proved in the West, it's not real. Anything that is in India, proven for thousands of years, not real. One silly experiment in the West and it's real, okay? So I will take the example that has been proven in the world is Ramanujan. Right now there's a movie going around about him.
Yeah.
Ramanujam went to England or London to be precise and expounded mathematical formulas, uneducated, untrained. He poured out mathematics over a century ago, the early 20th century. But he did not know how it comes, from where it comes. He has no mathematical training to go step by step. He just pours out excellent mathematics. Everybody knows this is of the highest order, but how is the question. When they asked him how, he said, my Devi, my Devi just drips mathematics. I'm in touch with her and this is all there is. Even sitting on his deathbed, he poured out excellent mathematics. Now in 2010, some of the formulas that he wrote, they found out, describe what is called as a black hole in the galaxies. In 1910, when he wrote this, there was no concept of black hole in the scientific community. Nobody ever even imagined a black hole, but he made mathematical formulas for black holes when the concept was not there. First you have a concept, then you have some little proof, then you have mathematics for it. Here you have mathematics first,
Yes.
when there is no concept in the human mind. So this happened because he used the deity to open up a certain dimension of life. Similarly, every deity is a window to the larger creation. Creation is not just the way you see it. Most of it you cannot see it, because only 1% or less than 1% is physical in nature. Right now your ability to see is only that which stops light. Right now you can see the wall, you can see the door, you can see the stone, you can see the tree. But what is most vital to your life right now, the air that you breathe, you cannot see,
Yes.
unless you happen to be in Delhi. So similarly, every deity was created for a specific purpose. People don't understand this, they think everything is God, God, God now because we have imported these ideas that somewhere there's one God sitting and doing all this. In this culture, it never was there. When I say Dhyanalinga, people say it's Shivalinga. I keep telling it's Dhyanalinga, but they say it's Shivalinga because their idea is that. We are calling it Dhyanalinga because it will bring meditativeness to you. You don't have to know anything about meditation. You don't need instruction, you don't need training, you don't need cultivation, you simply sit there, you will become meditative because that's his nature. Now we say Bhairavi is something, so there is a certain nature to her. If you want to explore those dimensions of life, that's where you go. These are machines or windows that you open to different dimensions of life. This is why specific temples were created according to the science that is necessary for that.
Okay.
But today we're building temples with concrete, just like you would build a shopping complex, probably for the same purpose. You see how carefully we have built the temples. I hope you noticed that.
Yeah, I've seen.
It's taken an enormous, meticulous care to maintain the geometry and the science of the temple making.
ప్రతి మూర్తిని తయారు చేయడంలో కూడా ఒక సైన్స్ ఉంది అంటున్నారు కదా.
So
ఇప్పుడు
every form has a reverberation of its own. If you match a form, a corresponding sound and corresponding dimensions around it properly, now it will reverberate a certain type of energy. In the Indian temple, nobody told you you must go and petition to God. These are all new happenings. Otherwise, they told you when you go there, I don't know if you had a grandmother at home, she would have told you, when you go to the temple, you must sit there for some time.
Yes.
Whether you pray or petition or not, that's not the point. You must sit there because this is an enormous energy. It is for you to imbibe as much as you can, sitting there quietly and imbibing as much as you can. This is a public battery charging place for you. Every day in the morning before you start your day, you're supposed to have a shower, go sit in the temple for some time, imbibe this energy and go out, because once you step out into the world, what is your profit is somebody's loss. What is their profit is your loss. Every transaction, there is room for friction. Whether it's within the house or outside the house, every little transaction there is room for friction. Unless you are wrapped with a certain amount of grace, every transaction will become a friction. For you to conduct transactions without friction, it needs a certain amount of energy, certain amount of grace. That is what you're trying to gather when you sit in the temple.
మీ ఇష్ట దైవం ఎవరు?
My Ishta Daivam is whoever is right now in front of me, that's my Ishta Daivam. Right now you have the fortune. Yes, because this is my way of life. Whoever is with me right now, I pay absolute attention to them. So people ask me, Sadhguru, are you a Shiva devotee? I say, you fools, I've only been devoted to you, what have I done for Shiva? I've done nothing for him. My entire life is devoted to you and you think I'm devoted to somebody else? No, because if you are in front of me right now, you are my Daivam for now. If you move away, somebody else is, that's my Daivam.
Yeah.
So what is in front of me right now, that's my Ishta Daivam. This is why I am able to give myself absolutely, no matter who you are, what you are, it doesn't matter who you are to me. Who you are doesn't matter to me. As far as I am concerned, I use you right now to keep myself absolutely focused in the highest level of emotion, in the highest level of focus. This makes me who you are. Everybody should understand this, that your devotion is not doing anything to your deity. Your devotion is only transforming you. If you do not know how to use your devotion to transform you, you are just talking about devotion, but you are very deceptive. Something is high, something is low. That means you have not tasted the divine, you are only talking about it. This is the fundamental thing we need to understand, that you don't look up to anything, you don't look down on anything. Then you will start looking at everything with great significance. If you pay attention to everything, absolutely, you will see something tremendous in every little thing. I'm not saying only because you're sitting. If I see an ant, that ant is my Ishta Daivam at that moment.
That moment.
Yes. Right now it's your fortune.
Thank you so much. ముక్తి మోక్షం దీన్ని ఏ విధంగా నిర్వచిస్తారు?
See, how do you define yourself right now? Just look at this. You will say, I'm this kind of person. What do you mean by that? You are defining yourself by your limitations, isn't it? So you say, I'm a woman, to start with. You are defining yourself by the limitations of your gender.
Yes.
Somebody says he is a man, he is defining himself by the limitations of his gender. So starting from that, there are millions of other limitations by which they are defining. Somebody says, I'm a morning person, whatever that means. That means they wake up in the morning.
Oh.
Somebody says, no, no, I'm not a morning person, that means he wakes up afternoon.
Okay.
So, I'm saying you're always defining yourself by your limitations. Please look at this. Most human beings always limiting themselves, defining themselves by their limitations. Now you say, I'm an Indian. What does it mean? It's defined by a boundary,
Nation,
isn't
yeah.
it? Not a nation.
Okay.
It's defined by a boundary.
Geographic.
If you lived on the other side of the border, you would be something else.
Yes.
So, all your definitions about yourself are by your limitations. Now in this culture we saw that is the basis of all conflict, all problems, so we set up the highest goal is mukti. That means to define yourself to your ultimate freedom, not by your boundaries, not by your limitations. This is the greatest idea the world has ever seen. Unfortunately, it is not popular in the country now. We must bring it back into daily conversation, that mukti should be a word that you employ on a day-to-day basis. If you spoke to your grandmother, almost every other day she uttered the word mukti.
Yes.
Yes? Now we are identifying so strongly with our limitations and with our boundaries, we have lost this word. We must bring this word back into the Telugu language in both the states.
Yes.
And anyway, half the Telugu people are outside the country, there also.
ఒకసారి కోటి దీపోత్సవం కార్యక్రమంలో మీరు పాల్గొన్నారు కదా?
ఫర్దర్గా భవిష్యత్తులో మేం చేయబోయే కోటి దీపోత్సవంలో ఎటువంటి జాగ్రత్తలు తీసుకోవాలి, మీ పరంగా మీరు ఇచ్చే సలహాలేంటి?
I think for events like that, the intention is very good. But for events like that, it's important that we bring a higher level of organization in the entire event, higher level of aesthetics, and also taking care of the comforts of the people, because men and women are sitting there for 4-5 hours, I think.
Exactly.
And to have simple things like water, bathrooms, all these things, because this is the biggest problem with most religious functions. Because the simple amenities that are necessary are usually not there, because it's a makeshift arrangement in a ground somewhere. But today there is a way to do it. If you want young women to come, if you want educated women to come, if you want educated men and women to come, you need to organize it a little more this thing. If you want any consultation or assistance in this, we are most willing to do it, because I want you to come and see how our Mahashivratri happens. It is organized in a certain way that people feel comfortable being in a situation like that. We must do that. I know it's difficult to do it on a ground that you have maybe rented just for a few days.
Yes.
There are challenges, but still if we organize it, keep the times properly, people should know when they come what they can expect. I feel in most of these organizations, temple-related organizations or events, people do not know what to expect. When you say 7 o'clock, it may be 12 o'clock in the night. It just goes somewhere. I'm saying if these things, if we control, we can bring the participation of educated people, young men and women to participate in this, which is important because they are the future. Otherwise, do you want Koti Deepotsavam to die with this generation? You want it to live for a long time, that's why you have taken it up, and I want it to live. And I think if you want, we can sit with you and see how to make this happen. I'm not saying you're not doing it well. I feel an event like that, which has such a huge cultural background behind it, must happen it must happen like a kumbh. It must happen like a Kumbh Mela.
Yeah.
Everybody should participate. If everybody has to participate, we need to create the necessary infrastructure.
Yes.
Otherwise, if our intention is to run it in a controlled way and see that they participate through your television channel, that is also fine. But still, I think, I'm saying this consistently to every temple event and every this kind of religious events, because if you don't learn to organize in a certain way, you will lose the young people. When we lose young people, that means we are ending it with this generation. Let it not happen. I want Koti Deepotsavam to live forever. So, let's make it happen in such a way that it will appeal to the educated, it will appeal to the youth, and they will come and participate. It is more interesting for them to come and sit in Koti Deepotsavam than to go and sit in a cinema or in some other place where the young people are gathering these days.
Yes.
You must make it more interesting.
భక్తి టీవీ ప్రేక్షకులకు మీరిచ్చే సందేశం ఏమిటి?
మీ భావావేశాలను బంధనల్లో చిక్కుకోకుండా ముక్తి కోసం ఉపయోగించేదే భక్తి.
థ్యాంక్ యూ సో మచ్. చూశారు కదండి, సద్గురు తమ ఇష్ట దైవం గురించి, అలాగే ఆధ్యాత్మికత అంటే ఏమిటి, ఏ విధంగా నడుచుకోవాలి అన్న విషయాల గురించి తెలియజేశారు కదా. ఇది ఇవాల్టి ఇష్టదైవం కార్యక్రమం. మరో అతిథితో మళ్ళీ కలుద్దాం. నమస్కారం.